Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video we're going to be talking about some of the players that you need to keep an eye on for the Buccaneers Week 3 matchup versus the New York Giants. So, without further ado guys, let's talk about it. The first player that I want to mention for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into this Week 3 matchup versus the New York Giants is tight end O.J. Howard, who we can all admit has certainly struggled for the first 2 weeks of the year, not just as a receiver, but also as a blocker as well. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with O.J. Howard, if it's just taking him time to get more acclimated into this offense. Maybe he's losing a little bit of that chemistry with Jameis Winston, but whatever the problem is I think that it's very correctable, and I think that O.J. Howard can get back on track. So for this upcoming game against the Giants, look for him to bounce back. It is a little bit of a softer Giants linebacker position group, which will make it harder for them to cover tight ends like O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate. So hopefully in this game, O.J. Howard can have a bounce back game, kind of build some momentum in his favor, and kind of progress forward with the rest of the season, because when he's on, he's one of the best tight ends in the league. This was supposed to be really a breakout year for O.J. Howard, and it hasn't exactly been the best start, so hopefully he can have a good bounce back game coming up against the Giants. Next player I want to talk about on the offensive side of the ball has also struggled. It is offensive tackle Damante Dodson, who hasn't necessarily struggled in blocking a whole heck of a lot. He has had his bad moments, but I don't think he's been too terribly awful. The biggest knock on Damante Dodson so far through the first 2 weeks of the year is penalties. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, but Damante Dodson is really struggling with penalties so far this year. Pretty much the entirety of the team as a whole. I believe they had 8 penalties in week 1 against San Francisco 49ers, and I think they had 12 penalties accepted against the Carolina Panthers. So Damante Dodson, he has definitely had his fair share of penalties accepted during the first 2 weeks of the year. Holding penalties is the main thing. He's got to stop holding, okay? I know that it's hard sometimes, and I know that Damante Dodson, at the end of the day, he's a professional, he's a veteran, he's been on this team for so many freaking years, so he needs to get more discipline. He is the leader, one of the leaders of this team. He's kind of the oldest veteran-y guy on that offensive line. He's the guy who we should be the least worried about in terms of getting penalties. So, Damante Dodson, clean up those penalties, man. I believe in you. I'm still pulling for you. I want to see you do some good. Just got to clean up those penalties, man. Next player I want to talk about is Mike Evans, and we all love Mike Evans, okay? Best wide receiver in Buccaneers history already. The guy's only been in the league 5 years, and he's the best wide receiver in Buccaneers history. That goes without saying, but, we are going to have to admit here that Mike Evans has struggled in the first 2 weeks of the year. Now, week 1, that's a little bit of an exception. The guy had the flu, was playing in 100-degree weather, and he was also matched up against Richard Sherman for most of the game against the 49ers. That can be, forgiven. That's forgivable. That was a really, really bad situation. Week 2, I'm not exactly sure if the flu was still bothering him. I'm not sure if the Carolina Panthers just solely focused on shutting down Mike Evans, and that opened up opportunities for guys like brashaad Pearman and Chris Godwin to get more open and get, better routes run and whatnot, because the Carolina Panthers were just double covering Mike Evans. I'm not sure what the situation was, but so far, at least on the stat sheets right now, Mike Evans, he's not being his usual self. I'm really, really hoping, and I think we're going to see a 100% Mike Evans go out there and do some really, really good things. So I'm hoping he can also have a bounce back game, do some really good things, and get back to the Mike Evans that we know and love, who is the best Buccaneers wide receiver in team history. Next player I want to talk about is another wide receiver that has struggled so far up to this point. It is brashaad Pearman, who was one of my favorite off-season free agent additions. I was so excited when we signed brashaad Pearman. He had a really, really good training camp. He had a pretty darn good preseason as well, and so far in the regular season, we're seeing that brashaad Pearman that was with the Baltimore Ravens and with the Cleveland Browns, who struggled to catch the ball, and I don't want to see that brashaad Pearman. I want to see the brashaad Pearman who was in the Buccaneers training camp, who was in the Buccaneers preseason games, and who had really good hands. It was that deep threat that the Buccaneers needed on this team to replace a guy like a Deshaun Jackson. I think that we can still see that brashaad Pearman. Of course, we're only 2 weeks into the year, but he has had a couple of missed opportunities. He had a wide open touchdown touchdown grab. It was a beautiful throw by Jameis Winston in that game against the Carolina Panthers. Went right through his hands. You can't have that. I really want to see him improve into catching the ball and just improve overall, build a little bit more chemistry with Jameis Winston. They asked Bruce Arians about it, and he said, yeah, just to paraphrase here, he said, well, basically, the guy's missed on some opportunities. He's got to start catching those balls. We really like brashaad Pearman. We want to see him do good. That's just paraphrasing here. So I want to see brashaad Pearman do good. I'm still pulling for him. He's still one of my favorite guys. So I'm really hoping that he can just continue to just improve, get better hands, and just overall become a really, really nice deep threat for this Buccaneers offense moving forward. Moving now to the defensive side of the ball, first guy I want to talk about is Shaq Barrett. Everybody's golden boy on the team right now. That's my guy. That's my guy. I love Shaq Barrett so freaking much. I've been loving him since the Buccaneers signed him. He was put down in Denver. He comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 4 sacks so far through 2 weeks. That is second right now in the NFL. The only guy who has more is Myles Garrett. So Shaq Barrett's doing some pretty darn good things. And now I want to see him go up against this New York Giants offensive line. It definitely seems like Daniel Jones is going to be the starting quarterback. I believe that has actually been confirmed. Daniel Jones will be the starting quarterback against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Eli Manning has been benched. If I'm being honest, guys, I was more worried about playing Eli Manning than I am playing against Daniel Jones. Not to say that Daniel Jones is a bad quarterback. I think he's definitely has a bright future in the NFL, but I really want to see Todd Bowles dial up the pressure. I really want to see a guy like Shaq Barrett continue this just insane momentum that's in his favor right now and really put the pressure on a young rookie quarterback like Daniel Jones, force the rookie into making some bad decisions and get some turnovers on that Buccaneers defense. I think Shaq Barrett's going to be a big key to the Buccaneers defensive success in this game against the Giants. He's got to put pressure on the rookie quarterback. I believe he's going to be going up against Nate Solder most of the game. That should be a good matchup. Nate Solder, if I remember, was a good offensive tackle in New England. Went to the New York Giants. He obviously isn't the same self, but he's still a very respectable offensive tackle, so that should be a good matchup. I'm really hoping that Shaq Barrett can be great. He's 6 sacks away from 10 sacks on the year. That'll be awesome. He would be the next double-digit sack guy besides Jason Pierre-Paul and Simeon Rice back in 2005, and I just want to continue to see this guy dominate because he's great. I love Shaq Barrett. He's awesome. Next two guys I want to talk about are Vernon Hargreaves III and Carlton Davis. Both guys who have looked very, very good so far in this young secondary, also counting Jordan Whitehead and Mike Edwards as well. Shout out to those two guys. But I want to focus on Vernon Hargreaves and Carlton Davis simply because of how depleted this Giants wide receiver core is right now. You have Sterling Shepard who could be out. You have Golden Tate who is suspended. You have Cody Lattimore who I believe is dealing with an injury as well. You have all these receivers on the New York Giants who are suffering these injuries and just dealing with, problems. They're definitely down to like their 4th, 5th, 6th string wide receivers. And I think guys like Vernon Hargreaves III and Carlton Davis are going to eat these guys up. Now, I don't want to assume anything. Obviously, we don't want to assume anything, but you have to give the benefit to the Buccaneers cornerbacks in that matchup. You have the back end of the New York Giants wide receiver depth chart going up against, admittedly, 2 cornerbacks who have had some really, really good starts to their seasons. Vernon Hargreaves, he had the pick 6 in week 1. He had the game-saving tackle in week number 2. Carlton Davis, he's using his size, he's using his length to his advantage. Yes, there have been a penalty here or there in the case of Carlton Davis, but I still think both these guys have been excelling in Todd Bowles' defense, playing man coverage, playing up close to their wide receivers. And I think if these injuries stick with these Giants wide receivers, if a lot of them can't go, I think Vernon Hargreaves and Carlton Davis are going to be really, really tight with their coverage and just continue to make life really hard for rookie quarterback Daniel Jones. Next group of guys I want to talk about is the defensive line as a whole. Okay, I'm talking about William Gholston, Vita Vea, and Ndamukong Suh. These guys have looked so freaking good in run defense. And also, again, I can't shout out these two guys enough, Lavonte David, Jordan Whitehead. They are so good in the run defense as well. But Vita Vea, he's blowing up the offensive line. Ndamukong Suh, he's doing his Ndamukong Suh things, which is just, making life miserable for offensive lines as well. And William Gholston's definitely the surprising one. I have been pleasantly surprised by William Gholston since the start of the season in the run game. He has looked like a very, very good run stuffer. like the William Gholston we saw a couple of years ago that got him that big contract extension. That's the William Gholston we are seeing right now, and that's so encouraging to see, because in training camp and in preseason, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't too impressed with William Gholston. I was more impressed with a guy like a Jeremiah Ledbetter, who I thought had a legitimate shot of taking William Gholston's starting job. But so far, up to this point, Gholston's looked good. He's looked very dominant in the run game. He's getting multiple tackles at the line of scrimmage, which you love to see. And if it's not right at the line of scrimmage, they're only gaining a yard or two. The point is that those three guys, Vita Vea, William Gholston, and Ndamukong Suh, they're one of the biggest reasons that the Buccaneers' run defense has been so good so far up to this point, and I really just want to see them improve and just continue to be great. They're going up against Saquon Barkley. They just went up against Christian McCaffrey. Those are two absolutely phenomenal running backs. Saquon Barkley is going to be a really, really tough test for this defense, but I think if the Buccaneers can contain him, they're going to be in some really good shape. They just had a tough test against Christian McCaffrey, so I think that they will be ready for Saquon Barkley. Finally, last guy I want to talk about on the defensive side of the ball is Kevin Minter, who got 2 game balls last week versus the Carolina Panthers, one for special teams, one for defense, because he came in for the injured Devin White and played so good. I'm such a huge Kevin Minter fan. I was so happy that we re-signed him. He's one half of what I've coined as the machines. Him and Deone Buchanan, they're the machines, because they're tackling machines. They look so good in run defense, and they can just do an overall solid job of filling in if they need to. And Kevin Minter did exactly that when Devin White went down with that injury against the Panthers. Kevin Minter came in, was able to just do his role exactly as he needed to do it, and he looked great. He looked really, really good. I know that there were some plays that was Kevin Minter in coverage there. Did he give up a long pass play? Did he not give up a long pass play? I'm not sure if that was just because, Cam Newton threw the right ball in the zone or what was going on there, but I think all things considered for last week, Kevin Minter went out there, did a phenomenal job of filling in for Devin White. And if Devin White can't go this week, obviously Kevin Minter, he's going to be getting a lot of starting opportunities in this game against the Giants, and I think he's going to do pretty good. Again, I'm a huge fan of Kevin Minter. He looks so good in the run game. He's such a sure tackler, which at the linebacker position especially is really, really important, and he seems to just have an overall great understanding of this defense. He played for Todd Bowles in Arizona. He played for Bruce Arians in Arizona. He knows what to do, and he knows how to relay that information to the rest of the Buccaneers defense. So big Kevin Minter fan. If Devin White cannot go, which would be very unfortunate, I'm pretty confident in Kevin Minter's abilities, and I think that he would do a phenomenal job filling in and really leading this defense and helping out defending the run against Saquon Barkley. Finally, guys, last guy I want to touch up on here real quick is kicker Matt Gay. I know he missed the field goal last week, and that sucked. It definitely sucked. That was not fun. At the end of the day, the Buccaneers still won. It is what it is. That's good stuff. We'll take it. We will definitely take it. And I know he's been struggling, and he missed a kick. What's going on, James? Let's not worry about it. The guy still has a phenomenal leg. We still loved what we saw from him in training camp and in preseason. Just got to give it time. He'll bounce back. I think he'll bounce back fine and do some really, really good things. But it is something to keep an eye on. Definitely keep on Matt Gay moving forward here in this game against the Giants. Let's hope he doesn't miss any kicks. I'm confident he won't, but it still will be something to keep an eye on. But guys, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think about all of this down in the comment section below. What are some other players that you guys are looking out for in this game against the New York Giants? Please let me know down in the comment section below. But guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoy the new video layout. I'm going to be trying to use this for the rest of the season. I absolutely love it. Just did a little thing in Photoshop. Figured I'd give you guys a new video format, kind of have some stuff over here in the box, kind of give you more of a visual representation of what I'm talking about. So I hope you guys enjoy it. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed. But until the next video or the next live stream, I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs!